We advise you to please watch the disclaimer before the following video. Also, the topics discussed are not prioritized by order. Welcome, sweet friends. Before we start today's video, we just want to read you something. This is just a quick heads up before we dive into today's topic. This video deals with the realities of aging and touches on some sensitive and triggering subjects that may affect some viewers. Please feel free to skip this video in its entirety if those type of subjects make you uncomfortable. This is the channel Frugal Money Saver. My name is Emmy. My husband is Paul. This video is going to be a little bit different today. We're talking about some real life topics. Today we're going to be covering the aspects of aging. Whether you're aging, you have aging parents, relatives. This is our personal journey, probably over the last 2 years or so. We're going to be covering some topics that we encountered that kind of were eye-openers, things that we wish we had known ahead of time, just things like that. We are not lawyers. We are not doctors. We are not psychiatrists, counselors, anything. We are just a middle-aged couple that have lived through these realities the last 2 years or so. We hope this video is helpful. What we want you to realize as we go through these topics, and we'll go through them quickly, you're either looking at these topics as a caregiver or an upcoming caregiver, or someone who is aging and needs to deal with this. So let's get right into this. So number one, please make sure your paperwork, your legal documents are in order. Now, we are talking about wills. We are talking about healthcare proxies. We are talking about life insurance, long-term healthcare insurance. If you do not have these in place, or you don't help someone get them in place, then your wishes will not be carried out in the end. Basically, that's what will happen. When Paul's parents needed us about 2 years ago, this started. We had to talk to them about their will, their health care. What do they want done? There's a lot of paperwork involved. And when it came to the will, honestly, the will that Paul's parents had was from 1969. The executors had passed away. So if something would have happened, God forbid, to Paul's parents, and that will was not updated, the government would have decided what to do with their property, how to handle their property, how to distribute it. Please make sure the important paperwork is in order. It's so easy to not want to deal with wills and things like that, but you have no idea the injustice that can occur to your family if these documents are not in order. Paul and I, we have a will. We've even updated it since we've done it. If you want your wishes to be carried out, make sure they are in writing. And the first thing we're going to tell you is to get a good elder care lawyer, somebody who can help you to write these forms, fill out these forms, healthcare proxy, all this medical jargon that goes with aging. Once that is in place, you'll feel better, and I'm sure your family will feel better. Number two, I know this is something we don't want to think about, but if you have the money, a prepaid burial is very helpful. It is the way to go. When Paul's mom passed about a year ago, they did not have anything like that in order. So when we went to make the arrangements for my mother-in-law, Dad came with us, and at that point, he did his own prepaid burial. In other words, he paid in advance for his wishes. He wanted to be cremated. He wanted to be buried with Mom at a plot they have in Niagara Falls. So these were all things we were able to set up. We went to the funeral home with him. The funeral home here in New York called the cemetery in Niagara Falls, and they made arrangements. They were paid. Now it's going to be effortless. And it is a lot to put on your family, not only when they lose someone, the heartache of that, but having to deal with these aspects. Paul and I, again, we have our plot picked out where he and I will be laid to rest. Paul and I did that several years ago. We knew we wanted to be buried where my family was, my mom, dad, where my brothers have plots. By doing it when we did it, which was about 10 years ago, literally, the price has just gone up and up and up and up. So think about it if you have the finances. And I know this is such a morbid subject to talk about, but we're trying to just make it a little easier for you to navigate. These are just suggestions. We are not telling you what to do. We're just telling you what we have learned over this journey. Number 3, as your parents age, relatives age, your significant loved one, whatever it is, if you need help, ask for help. If you are a caregiver or a relative and you see a need, offer help. Now, a lot of times, as in with Paul's dad, it's not so easy for them to accept the help. After Mom passed, we offered Dad help with cleaning. We would go over and clean out his refrigerator, take expired food out. We'd food shop for him, put new food in. Now, what he wouldn't let us do is clean the home. He wouldn't let us vacuum, mop. He was very proud. He wanted to handle that. We would try to sneak in little cleaning things if we could. You are that aging relative, ask for the help. Please don't forget things like Meals on Wheels that are delivered from the Office of the Aging in your local town. You can go and eat at the Office of the Aging. Call them if you have a specific problem or you need help with something. Tune to your local government. They're there as well to help. Please, we got my in-laws Meals on Wheels. We called and did it. They didn't want any part of it. But once they had those hot meals coming to their home every day, oh my goodness, what a difference. Nutrition-wise, everything. Offer the help, and if you need the help, please ask for it. Number 4, this is a huge one. If you can, start decluttering. Paul's parents lived in their home for, I think, 57 years. Can you imagine the amount of items? They lived in a big 3-bedroom home, attic, basement, garage filled. To be honest, we donated as much as we could, but some of the stuff was just not good. Paul's father had to pay for 6 trucks to get rid of these belongings that nobody wanted, that nobody could use. We needed to do this to sell the house. You cannot sell a home that is just filled with clutter. So you really need to start in your own home slowly. I'm not saying go in, take every memory, toss it, start decluttering, your parents' home against their will. No, they still have dignity. We need to respect their wishes, but maybe work slowly. Maybe work one day a week, going through the curio cabinet or going through some of the clothes they're not wearing, or if they're not reading anymore, the bookshelves filled with books. Again, offer help. If they accept it, great, or you can gently encourage them, hey, if you don't read these books anymore and they're physically able, could you just put them in a box? I'll take them to Goodwill or to the book sale for you. You need to really look at how many items are in your own house or in the home of the people you are caring for, and see if you can slowly and respectfully start downsizing and decluttering. Number 5, something that we have had to deal with is old paperwork in their home. File cabinets of things that should have been shredded probably 30 years ago. Now, we're not talking about legal documents. That's not what we're talking about. We'll get to that. We're talking about old phone bills, old electric bills, old credit card bills from credit cards you don't even have anymore, warranties for products that have expired. That paperwork can become so overwhelming if someone else is looking through it for you. And even if you have to do it yourself, do it in small segments. Maybe 30 minutes a day, you pull out a file and look at it. No, I don't own the Mrs. Braun coffee maker anymore. I guess I can get rid of that booklet on how to use it. We're talking non-essential paperwork. We are not talking about vital records, maybe old birthday cards, old Christmas cards. Now, we're not looking to destroy anyone's memories. You know, when you're looking at names of people you used to work with 30 years ago who sent you a card, that can go in the garbage safely now, I would think. Now, as far as vital records are concerned, and that includes things like legal documents, deeds, titles, birth certificates, property surveys, proof of ownership, licenses, adoption papers, wills, trusts, passports, social security cards, etc., etc. There's a ton of vital papers you need to keep. That should be in a locked, fireproof and waterproof box. And that goes for everybody, me, you, whether you're 20 or 100. This way, God forbid something happens, those items are very, very hard to replace and should always, always be kept in a safe and secure location so that you or family members have access to that. Number 6, this is kind of entwined with decluttering. Photos. People back in the day before the whole digital era took photos and they took slides. And I am not exaggerating. And I asked Paul if I was able to say this, and he said absolutely when we were doing the notes. He needed a hand truck to take the photo albums out of his dad's house. And then Paul and I sat and went through those photos. You're crazy, Emmy. Why didn't you just toss them? Why didn't Paul just take them and toss them? Because there may have been photos in there that meant a lot to Paul, or that mean a lot to his dad who is alive and well. And we took some of those photos, we framed them and we put them in his room, and he can look at them now. But if you can, please go through your photos. If you have paper photos or slides, pare them down. I'm not asking you to toss your memories. I'm not asking you to toss anyone else's memories. But the 7 pictures of the butterfly on a rose that you took 30 years ago, well, that's great, but that's not something that you need 7 copies of, different angles. So photos were something we really had to deal with, and literally a hand truck. They were so heavy, just books and books of photo albums. The other thing I'm going to encourage you to do, if you have pictures of family that you want to pass down, label those pictures. Tell your family who these are. That was great Uncle Ned who fought in the Revolutionary War. Paul's family are all daughters and sons of the American Revolution. Some of those pictures were priceless. Now, if we had tossed them, we wouldn't have seen them. but label them. Let people know if they are important photos, who is in the photo. Number 7, always keep a list of your medication or any kind of ailments that you have been diagnosed with somewhere safe so that your family or emergency medical people can get to. Also, something that is very important is allowing your doctor permission to speak with family members or caregivers about your medical history. Paul was not even allowed to make an appointment for his parents. He wasn't allowed. They said he was not on the list. It was just my mother-in-law and father-in-law on the list. It was as simple as Paul's filling out a form and having his parents sign it, saying that he was allowed to talk about their medical conditions. He was allowed to make appointments for them, pick up their medication, things like that, talk about their health care with their primary physician. Now, my in-laws were really good about that. Soon as we realized Paul's limitations in helping them physically with doctors and things like that, we approached them and they were great about it. And that made our life a lot easier, but that's something like a lot of people don't think of. So that's very, very important, along with their medication, when they take it, how much they take. People in an emergency situation, the workers need to know that, the EMTs, they need to know that. Another really important aspect to think about. Number 8, another thing that we faced that was the hardest probably is realizing after Paul's mom passed that his dad couldn't stay alone anymore. That was just something we realized. And we needed then at that point to find someplace safe, clean, highly rated for him to go. We would have loved to have taken him here. I have stairs up and down, and you've seen our house. It is not conducive. It would just be an accident waiting to happen. And he was really good about wanting to go into a new place. That was, in the beginning, he wasn't. But then when he realized it was getting harder for him to keep up the house, he was really good about it. But now it was up to us to research and find someplace safe for him. And I cannot tell you how many places we visited. What did we do to find the best place? Every time we visited a new place, we had a checklist. And you can go online and ask for a checklist of what to look for when you are visiting memory care facilities or assisted living places, things like that. And we had this checklist and we went through it. Like one of them would be check all your ratings, read reviews, look at ratings, look at any kind of negligence against the facility. Look at the facility itself. How are the grounds? When you get inside, how's the lobby? Most importantly, look at the residents. How do they seem? Are they clean? Are they dressed? Or are they all laying in bed? Are they smiling? Do you see activities that they're engaging in? Or do you just see them in wheelchairs lined up? I mean, there are so many variables when it comes to this. And this is where sometimes people invest in long-term care insurance, because Medicare does not cover long care in a facility. It's privately paid most of the time until your money runs out and your assets run out, and then Medicare will pick up. Again, we are not lawyers. This is what we encountered. You're going to want to look at the room that your loved one is staying in. Is it clean? Is it neat? Is it picked up? Look at the workers that are there, the aides, the nurses. How are they interacting with the residents? So many things to look for. We were beyond blessed. My father-in-law was extremely frugal. My mother-in-law was extremely frugal. We were actually able to place him in a beautiful facility that we could not ask more from. Honest to goodness, we are so blessed, and it's not far. They are constantly inviting us to activity. Oh, so much wonderful positives we can say about this place. But do your due diligence and research, please. Now, again, remember, we are talking about ourselves as well. All these things we are thinking about for our future as well. I can see why people become minimalists. I couldn't imagine our son coming in here and dealing with this right now, honestly. So these are all things that, again, if you're not a caregiver, but you are someone who's thinking about the aging process for yourself, all relevant, all very relevant. So the last one, number 9, is when it comes time to sell someone else's home. Paul's dad, like I said, is very much alive, but we want to sell his home. He wants his home sold so that money can then go to his future care, of course. This is where power of attorney is so important. Designating someone as you get older. Again, we're not lawyers. We're just telling you what we encountered. So when Paul became the power of attorney and Dad wasn't able to sit with a realtor and talk about the house and show them the house and do all that, Paul was able to do it. Paul can sign the contract. And of course, he discusses everything with his father. It's not like, you're doing something behind someone's back. And make sure your power of attorney is someone you trust. 1,000,000%. Okay, please do that as well, because you're basically giving them the power to make decisions for you. With the house, we were able to get a realtor in, but this is after 6 months of us cleaning that house out. Paul doing 90% of the work, me doing probably 10. So all credit to him, honestly. And it was a tremendous, tremendous job. These last 2 years have been so eye-opening. And if we can encourage you to prepare just a little bit or to help someone to prepare, then we've done what we needed to do here. Again, like we always say, can you take a nugget away from this? Make your life better or someone else's life better. Aging is a blessing. Not everybody has that blessing to age. So we need to be respectful. We need to be encouraging. We need to continue to love. We need to be patient. Patience. Because a lot of times the patience can be thin, but you have got to just be strong. And if you need to shed a tear, you come home and you shed it in private. So we hope, again, that you could take a little something away from this and make your life easier or someone else's life easier. Today's question of the day, give us your questions about what we talked about. Is there something here we didn't cover that you may have a question about? We will try our best to answer it. Please don't ask us legal questions or how to invest financially for the elderly, nothing like that. We are not accountants. We are not lawyers. But if it's a real life situation that we can help you with, leave it down below and Paul and I will do our best to answer it. So we thank you so much for sharing this time with us. This was a heavy video, but we felt it in our hearts when Paul and I talked about it. It's something we really wanted to share because the blessings of being able to love on somebody who has loved you your whole life is just amazing, and it's a privilege. We ask you to be well. We ask you to be safe. And above all, we wish you blessings. Until our next video, may God greatly bless you.